Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the Motorola Z2 Force. This comes in at about $720, and many times there's deals on it lately, and it's available from all of your different carriers or unlocked. This is actually the Verizon variant, and with that you've got different apps from Verizon installed. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, the big thing about this phone versus other flagship phones is the screen. This is a shatterproof screen. They guarantee it to be shatterproof. So technically, you could damage it, you could hit it with a pick or something, and it would actually break it. But for the most part, dropping it, hitting it by accident, anything like that, you're not going to shatter that, and that's because this is plastic. It's also a POLED display, or a plastic OLED display, that's similar to the Pixel 2 XL, for example. It's a 5.5-inch 1440 by 2560 display. It has 534 pixels per inch as well, and it's a 16:9 aspect ratio as opposed to the larger ones that LG is doing and Samsung is doing, depending on the phone. Now, internals are very much flagship internals. We've got Snapdragon 835 processors, Adreno 540 GPU, 64 gigabytes of storage, expandable through the SD card slot or micro SD and SIM card slot. They're in this one tray here. And it's expandable up to 256 gigabytes. We've also got 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now on the back, we've got dual 12 megapixel cameras. We've got a dual LED flash. And we've also got these pins on the bottom that allow you to expand the back of this device with different mods, or Moto mods as they call them. Inside, we've got a non-removable 2730 milliamp hour battery, pretty small for a flagship phone, and there's some reasons behind that, I think. And we do not have NFC built in. And then the speakers, well, there's not really too much going on as far as speakers go. No dual front-facing speakers. We've got our power and volume buttons on one side, and for me, this is a bit of a problem. This is textured a little bit, but I often find I hit the volume buttons instead of the power button. But most of the time, you can wake the phone up with the fingerprint sensor just in the front here. On the sides, we don't have anything else, and then we have our USB Type-C on the bottom. So that's it as far as this phone goes. No headphone jack, and then we've got our front-facing camera, of course, and our speaker. Now, the operating system of this phone is Android 7.1.1. It's a little bit old now that Oreo is out, but that should be coming later this year. And this is very close to stock Android. So as you see, it looks basically like I'm using the Google Now launcher on my phone, or the Pixel launcher. It's basically the same things as stock, with a few Moto apps such as Contacts and their Moto app and their own Moto camera app. In the Moto camera app, it looks very familiar and it works really well. If I take this other Z2 Force here, and I'll talk more about that in a moment, you'll see the camera takes very fast pictures and it will record in 4K. If you want to record 4K, it does that, and it focuses really quickly too. And you'll see it's working well, like you'd expect for any camera nowadays. Now, as far as it compared to other flagship smartphones, I'd say for most people, it's probably fine, especially the people that are going to buy this phone. But if you want to compare it to something like the S8 Plus or the iPhones, this isn't going to be on that level, but it's fairly close. Motorola's always kind of struggled as far as that goes. Now, as far as the operating system itself, it's smooth. There's no problems with it. I have no issues whatsoever. If I go here, we'll go to my website, you'll see that it's got the stock Android keyboard is here as well, and it loads pretty fast. I don't really experience too much lag throughout the operating system or anything like that. You don't have the support for picture-in-picture, but you have the split screen in different apps depending on which one you're using, and everything else is just basically as you would expect it. It's nice and fast, but the one difference with this phone is its Moto mods. The Moto mods on the back are kind of unique to this phone, and something that some people will really like and others will find gimmicky. For example, there's no NFC included in this phone, and you couldn't do Moto mods with it because you need the coil that's inside the NFC connector to be near the surface, and they've done that with this mod. So this is a $40 mod that gives you NFC and kind of a protective back. They magnetically adhere to the phone. They don't shake off. They're hard to get off. If you put your finger in here, you have to give it a good push to get it off. And you'll see it protects the camera now that this is on. So now you have the ability to wirelessly charge, and the coil is right here. Now, the bad thing about that is if I want to use a different mod, I can't wirelessly charge at the same time. So I can't use a case and wirelessly charge unless I'm using this mod on the back. Now, there's other mods available. They go from $40 to $300. And one of the mods that's pretty interesting that they were nice enough to send along, thanks to Motorola for sending this along for review, but this is actually the 360 camera. And this camera allows you to record 4K 360 video with immersive 3D sound. So we'll check that out in just a moment. But this particular mod, like I said, comes in at about $300, and it's pretty expensive, but it's for a very niche market. So if I take this off, it's a lens cover. You'll see there's the lens here. And when I want to use it, I just pick the phone up, click it on, and now I have a 360-degree camera. And I can use it that way. So that's pretty unique. They have speakers. They also have docks for your cars, a bunch of different ones, and there's also a program where other people can make them. There aren't a whole lot outside of the Motorola world that have made them, but they are available, and it's kind of unique to this particular phone. It's a very durable phone, and one of the things that I think they've done is basically make 95% of the phone and leave the last 5% up to you. So that means you want wireless charging, maybe you want a better camera, a Hasselblad camera, maybe you want a speaker that's louder, or maybe you want a huge battery to snap onto the back. And I think that's where the compromises come in with this particular phone. It's not going to be for everyone because it's compromised in the sense of it doesn't have a huge battery. It will get you through most of the day, but without that extra battery on the back or wirelessly charging regularly, you're just not going to get through a full day usually with a 2730 milliamp hour battery. Because it's so nice and thin and sleek to hold, it feels very high quality as far as that part goes, and it's super thin, but without anything on the back as far as an extra battery, you're really missing out on that extra time. Now, of course, you can expand that greatly and easily make it last a couple days usually. So it's just up to you what you want to do with that. Now, I always like to do camera tests in my videos, so let's take a few pictures, or I'll take a few pictures and show you here. I'll do a 360 video as well. Maybe I'll post that separately so you can check that out in 4K and see what it looks like. So let's take a look at that now. I took a few photos with this camera, and it turns out it's okay. It's not on par, I think, with the Google Pixel or an iPhone 8 Plus, but it's decent, and it has an attachment to make it even better. When it comes to the camera on the Motorola Z2 Force, with the 360 attachment, we actually can take some really nice pictures, and it works across different Android devices. It doesn't work so well on non-Android devices. So if I go like this, we'll wait just a moment. I'll rotate it, and I'm just holding the camera steady, and you can watch around this. Now, if you'd like me to upload this, I definitely can do that. Just let me know in the comments below. Now, I did one more of these. I took some photos this way too, but let's go down to this one. And here I'm on my jet ski on a lake nearby. We'll wait for it to load. And you'll see on here it looks much better than it does on a larger display. So you can see that's me, and I'm just looking around. You can zoom in. On a display on a computer, you can zoom in. Here you can't very much. Let me turn it up. And there is a lot of wind noise, but I am doing about 30 to 40 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit faster. It says 36 right now, so there's going to be a significant amount of wind noise when I'm riding this. Now, it also does 360 pictures as well, and some of those, they turn out okay. So here's a 360 picture. Let me rotate it again, and these are okay. They're pretty grainy, and again, there's me. You can look down. And they look pretty good, but out here it's really blown out, and over here the dark is really grainy. If you zoom in, you can see the grain on it. So it's okay. It's much better as a video camera, I think, than it is as a picture camera, strangely, but it works really well, and it's neat. It just automatically uploaded to Google Photos, and it works just fine. And this is on a Google Pixel. I tried it on an iPhone. It just doesn't come out the same way. So, for example, on an iPhone, you're going to get this result when it plays. We'll just wait for it to play here for a moment. So you get this result on an iPhone. So you can't really do anything with it. It's really kind of weird to look at. It doesn't work right, but it works great on an Android phone. So if you're using a Pixel, a Galaxy, any of those, it works great. As far as the phone itself, I think it's a pretty high quality phone, but I did have one pretty big problem. This is another Z2 Force. As you see here, this is an AT&T, this is Verizon. They were both sent to me by Motorola, and I had one major problem with it. One day when I was using this one, all of a sudden, the screen went completely crazy and I couldn't use it at all. And the screen actually works now, but many times all of a sudden it stops working. The screen kind of just goes into a bunch of lines and then it doesn't work at all. For some reason it's working now, and I'm glad to see that, but I'm not sure what that's all about, if it's addressed through a hardware update or if it's a physical problem with this particular device. I had that happen. This one has been rock solid. No problems with this particular one, but I don't know if this was a bad one. But like I said, it's working fine now, and I'm sure they'll just cover it under warranty if it was a problem. So you'll see this one has all of the AT&T stuff I mentioned before, given that it's an AT&T phone. So that's it for the Moto Z2 Force. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it in the comments below. It's kind of a unique take on a phone as far as what users would want. It's ultra durable as far as the display goes. You shouldn't have to ever worry about it shattering, and a slight screen protector, plastic or glass, would be great on this, as it's got a plasticky feel and it's going to scratch really easy because it is plastic. But other than that, I think it's a great phone if you can get a good deal on it. Let me know your thoughts about it, though, in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.